Welcome back to another monthly reset video. Today we're going to be talking about September goal updates, my October goals, the books I read in September, and some of my faves of the month. Let's get into it. In September, I had a goal to upload 50 designs to Cricut. While I didn't meet that goal, I did get 25 of the 50 uploaded. And I would say that's a win because if you've been watching any of my monthly reset videos, you know that I have been making this a goal for many months and it just was not happening. I still feel like I accomplished this goal because I did way more than any other month. Based on how things are going this year, I am just happy to get anything up and done. I've just been really struggling to design this last quarter, so hopefully going into the last quarter of the year, I will improve on that, but we will see. I also had a goal to post every single day on TikTok, and I went into this month so confident that I could do this, and I fell so short from this goal. It wasn't even on my radar that I wasn't gonna make this goal because I just felt like I was in a rhythm and I was remembering to post and I was getting things edited and whatever. But I failed so hard at this goal and my affiliate sales and everything like that suffered because of it. I mean, they still were decent, but definitely not as good as previous months. I don't know. I just had this really nice rhythm where I would edit something, add it to my list of things to post, and then add it to my phone. And I just was keeping up with that. But last month I just forgot. So I'd have all these videos on my computer that needed to be edited. I'd also have a bunch of videos that I did edit and I forgot to send to my phone. So I just had this backlog that I wasn't doing anything with. I am hopeful that going into October, I will be a little bit better with this. I don't have a vacation coming up, so that should help. Another goal I had was to make more Pinterest graphics. I feel like I did okay with this. I definitely pinned a lot more on Pinterest than any other month in this entire year. So that part I did, but I didn't really make the graphics that I was intending to make when I wrote this goal. So yes, I did post more on Pinterest, but I didn't make the actual graphics that I wanted to make. So I do need to work on that for October. My last goal was to just spend some time brainstorming because at the end of, August, I just was so conflicted and confused and I just didn't know what I wanted to do. And it took a few solid days of me stressing out everyone around me to get a little moment of clarity. I feel like I am a little bit more confident going forward the next couple months about what I want to talk about and what I want to post. Yeah, I definitely need to make more time for this brainstorming session, probably once a month. For September, I really wanted to be mindful of making goals that were in my control. You'll notice that in previous months, I did goals for how much I wanted to make on Amazon or TikTok. I had follower goals. I kept failing them because I couldn't control it. In some months I would achieve it, in some months I wouldn't, and I'd feel bad about myself, what could I have done more? And sometimes you really just can't do more because it's not in your control. So that moves us into October goals, and we're gonna start off with the most obvious goal of uploading 50 designs to Cricut. I think I can do this year because I just made a video about what to design in Q4, and I remember that video really inspiring me, so I need to rewatch that and get some inspiration, and hopefully, fingers crossed, I will do 50 or more designs for Cricut. I feel like if I can't do this, then what can I do? At this point, seriously, what can I do if I can't get motivated at all this year? So yeah. As we go into gift season, I would really like to make sure that I am keeping up with Pinterest and posting every single day. I don't have to be posting a ton a day to achieve this goal. I want to be making sure I'm posting one time a day or more, but at the bare minimum once a day, because I think that's definitely doable with the amount of photos, videos, things like that I make. This is where making those Pinterest graphics comes in because I want to make graphics for all of my YouTube videos, which I never do. I want to start doing that so that I have one more way to push people to my YouTube videos. I also want to make gift guides and roundups. Those are super easy and I have a fun time with those. I have no doubt that I will get to those, but definitely making graphics for YouTube videos is a thing I need to do. Going off my last point, I want to write 3 blog posts and I want these to correlate to my YouTube videos. So my goal here, ideally, really, is that for every YouTube video, if needed, so not for any of these reset videos, but for any of my tutorials, any of of my tips or small business videos or design videos, I want to have a blog post to correspond with it. So whether or not you prefer to read or listen, you would have both options. And I've been wanting to do this since the beginning of the year. I just wasn't in the mood for it, but now I'm feeling like, okay, I just spent a bunch of money to have my blog for another 3 years. I might as well do this. It'll take a lot of time. Don't get me wrong. This is a huge undertaking, which is why I just never do it. But I would like to go into next year with all of that being done. Another goal of mine is to start a second YouTube channel, which, spoiler alert, I kind of already have done this, but I haven't posted to it. So technically it hasn't been started fully. And my goal for this really is to be able to make more vlog and travel content and book content and not have to muddy up this channel. I really enjoy editing travel vlogs, any type of cozy vlogs like day in the lives, week in the lives. And sometimes the things I do in my daily life don't really make sense for a design or small business channel. So I think I might, well, I actually know. I am gonna make a second YouTube channel and post that type of content there. And it works out because I just went on vacation for a week and it was so much fun. I knew going into it, I wanted to vlog the vacation because we were gonna be seeing a lot of things and I just knew that it would be fun to rewatch that at some point. And that's why I love my travel vlogs, because I can go back and revisit the vacation and just remember it all. I just knew it didn't really fit on this channel, but I didn't want to not do it either. So I was like, I'm just gonna make this channel now. No point waiting until next year. So you can expect to see some vlogs, my animals, book content, so like my TBRs or book updates, which I'm really excited to do all that stuff. So not really concerned with how many videos I make for that. I just want to have that channel up, get that video posted, and kind of go from there. And then my last goal is a personal goal, and it might seem silly to a lot of you, but I want to try leaving the house more because it's just been a struggle. When we were in New Mexico, when my husband was in the military, we lived in a city that really sucked. It's probably, I think it was the second worst base you could live at. It was very depressing. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. It was depressing for both of us. We hated it. We just could not wait. And unfortunately, again, for us, we did not get to leave. We were not one of those military couples who moved every year. Well, I moved every year, but not because my husband was getting stationed, but because of other things. Again, I'm not gonna get too far into it because I could just rant on this forever, but we hated our time and I just got so used to staying home working all day. And at that time I was working a full-time job and working for my business. So I just was working all the time and I never saw my husband and we never went anywhere. So I just got really used to staying at home. And then I moved back around COVID times. And of course you're staying home for that. So it was just kind of like a ripple effect. Like I stayed home and then I stayed home and then now I have a house and I just love staying home because I love my house. I have really bad driving anxiety now because I just went so long not driving, and I actually went a few years not even having a car. So now that I'm driving again, I get really bad anxiety about it, but I'm getting a lot better. Like I've noticed that I'm able to drive longer and go to new places and it's not as stressful as it used to be just even a couple months ago. So it's a really silly thing, I know, but I also know there's a lot of other people out there that struggle with that as well. And I think a lot of my stress and anxiety from it comes from the fact that I get really distracted and I get really bored when I'm driving. So if I don't have someone else there to keep me in check, or I'm not listening to something engaging enough, I get distracted and I start like going in different lanes, or I'm not paying attention as well, or I'm like, is that light green? Did I run a red light? Like I can't even remember if the light was green. I just am so on autopilot that I can feel myself not fully thinking, and I don't want to be like a bad driver. So it really stresses me out and I'm trying to get better about it. And audiobooks are definitely helping in that regard for sure. Music is just not cutting it right now. Anyways, yeah, I have a goal to leave the house more. So moving on to the books I read this month, probably won't be keeping this part of these videos in future versions of these videos because once I have my second channel and I'm talking about book content over there, I don't really need to be talking about it here. I don't know if a lot of you care about the books I'm reading, so I'm gonna quickly go through this and make it as fast as possible. The first book I read in September was The Ministry of Time, and I felt so stupid reading this book. The beginning and end, I understood. The middle was just like a jumbled mess. The main reason I was confused is because it's a time traveling book, but the time traveling part wasn't the confusing part. If you enjoy time travel, definitely read this book. But the confusing part for me was that each person who was one of the time travelers, I think there was like 5, they all had a first name and a last name, and they all had a different year that they were from, that they were called throughout the book. So you had 3 different names for all 5 people. And to make matters worse, the year that they were from was written out like 1984, not the number 1984. I am not gonna remember any of that. So anytime there was multiple people in a scene, I could not remember who was who, and I just was getting so lost, but I still gave it a 3 out of 5. I really did enjoy the beginning end of it. I enjoyed the parts where it was just the main character and her time traveler. The next book I read was Heart of the Sun Warrior. This is a second book in the duology. I liked the first one a little bit more. I gave this one a 4 out of 5. I just felt like it was really long, and there were some parts that were slow. There was good parts mixed in with the slowness. It made sense that it was long because so much did happen, but at the same time, it was very long. I did really like how it wrapped up though, so props for that. If you're looking for a fun fantasy world dealing with goddesses and different fun worlds like that, that is easy to understand, definitely read this duology because I think you'll have a good time with it. The next book I read was Murder Road by Simone St. James, and I had really high hopes for this book because I loved Sundown Motel. I did not love this one. I gave it a 2.5 out of 5, I think. I gave it a 2 out of 5. I really struggled with the fact that they said Midland, Michigan was down south near the Indiana border, because no, it is not. It is up here. And as someone who grew up going to Midland quite often, that pulled me out of the story so much. Every time they mentioned Midland or described it or driving south, like I just was like, I got annoyed. And so obviously this is just like a Michigan thing, because if you're not from Michigan, you might not even know that that's incorrect or anything like that. But I really struggle with books that are set in Michigan, especially because I'm always left wondering, is this true? And then if it's not real, it bothers me. This book dealt with a murder, as you can probably imagine, but it just wasn't as riveting or fast-paced as Sundown Motel. So if you're looking to read a book by Simone St. James, I recommend that one over this one. Next, I read The Women by Kristen Hanna, and this is a historical fiction, and I loved this book. And I went into this very cautious because I'm not someone who enjoys history class or learning about history. I can never remember anything about history, but this one was really fun, and there were lots of parts of it that made me mad, but rightfully so. This book tackles subjects like PTSD, war scenes, and like bandaging people up, a miscarriage, disagreeing with family, love, heartbreak, injustices, and honestly so much more. This was a very good book, and it was an easy 5 stars for me. And if you're looking to start with a Kristen Hanna book, I highly recommend this one. You gotta always have the good with the bad, right? After that, I read Remarkably Bright Creatures, and I think they call this a slice of life book when it's like not much happening, but it's very much like describing every little detail of this one moment in time. I think that's what slice of life is, but either way, I don't like this kind of book. It's just way too boring for me. I think I gave it a 2.5 and rounded it up to 3 because I felt like I was the problem, but I almost kind of want to take it down to 2 because the whole book, I was like, what is the point of this? When is something going to happen? It just wasn't for me. And honestly, the entire plot could be written in 1 paragraph. That's how little actual stuff is happening. I just realized that these types of books are not for me. Then I read Apprentice to the Villain, which is the second book in this series, and I really had a good time with this. I think I gave it a 4 out of 5. I didn't like it as much as the first book, but then I realized it is a trilogy and it is kind of suffering from second book syndrome, but not terribly. Like, it was still good. Things didn't get like really wrapped up. It left off on another cliffhanger. It was still fun though. I really enjoyed reading this book. If you like Lucifer and Chloe from the show Lucifer, you will love this series because they give off the exact same banter, and I have so much fun reading it, and I just picture Lucifer and Chloe the entire time, but also kind of Ella. So definitely recommend that one. And then I read Payback's a Witch, and I DNF'd this book at 30% because I just wasn't vibing with it. It's not like there was anything in particular that was wrong with it. I just wasn't connected. So I didn't feel like forcing myself to finish it. So maybe I'll come back to it at a different time, but for now I'm DNFing it and probably not gonna circle back to it this season. Now moving on to my favorites of the month. The first one is that I went on vacation and I actually unplugged. I think this was the first vacation that I really truly did not think about anything stressful. That vacation was really nice. So if you want to see that vacation, eventually it'll be on my second channel, which I will have linked in the description. We went to the UP, the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. It was supposed to be really pretty fall colors, but it just wasn't there yet. And you can never plan these things. It was still a really good time. We went swimming in Lake Superior, which if you know anything about the Great Lakes, Lake Superior is the coldest one. And to be swimming in Lake Superior at the end of September is just wild. So that was really fun. Haven't unpacked my rocks yet, but I have a ton of them. We went to Agate Beach and oh my God, I'd go there every year if I could. But we did other things like hiking, going to waterfalls, doing all the things. Very fun, very exciting. I really enjoyed my time. The next thing I want to talk about is my reading journal. Recently, I was like, you know what? I want to have a reading journal to keep track of my TBRs, the books I'm reading, everything like that. All the things that go into a reading journal. And I was gonna wait till next year because it seemed kind of weird to start it in September. But then I was like, you know what? That's still 4 months I could be using this and getting ideas for what I want next year's journal to look like and really kind of fine tune what things I want to keep track of. The next few months are just my practice months and I'm going in knowing that it doesn't have to be perfect. It's just a hobby. This is just for fun. This is not for anything else. And I'm trying to really let myself just be okay with that. And it doesn't have to compare to anyone else's or anything like that. I will show you a quick little flip through of what I'm doing. So I'm having a monthly TBR and I have these stickers that I've printed off. Well, they're right here, actually. I can show them to you. These are stickers I have on Cricut. I think I have the project already made, so you can just make the project and cut out all these stickers. But anyways, I have little star trackers under each book, so then I can know like which books I read and what I rated them at a quick glance. And then I'm gonna do what I wanna read this season, because I also do wanna make sure I'm reading like fun, vibey books. I don't know. And then I still have to fill out my October TBR, because now that it's October, and I just realized I'm like, I forgot about that. And then I'll have my winter hopefuls, and then I'll have my TBR for December, and then I wanted to do like my monthly faves. So this is super basic because I didn't have enough room. I think what I will do next year is make this be 2 spreads so it can be like more decorative. Like I have no space to even write the months. So I think I will do this differently for next year, but without doing it and writing all this stuff down, I would never know. And then for each book I'm reading, I'm actually gonna write a review because I feel like it helps me a lot to remember all of my thoughts for these books and what I rated them. And then I have to print out the book covers. So that's why those are empty there. But then this is just gonna be like a little reading log of all the books each month. So that's what I'm doing with that. I'm excited to make some more spreads next year. It was fun to just have a hobby-ish thing that I could do after work that wasn't more work. The week I worked on this was the week I was trying to not use Instagram. I actually took Instagram off my phone, and you know how you can like remove it from your home screen and then it goes into this section with all your apps? That's what I did, and I used Instagram for 1 hour the week I did that. It's definitely helping me a lot to not have that, and I'm feeling so much better about things not being on Instagram. I don't know, I was feeling really bad after being on Instagram as much as I was, so really hoping I can stick to not using it all that often and just maybe posting updates every once in a while. So that is my update for this month. I hope you enjoyed this video. I would love to know what your goals are for this month, what books you're reading, anything like that. I would love to know. I hope you have a great rest of your day. I will see you next time. Bye.